Last year in Clonoulty, in Hammersley's Field, on a beautiful fine August day, the first time attempted and crowned a success was a very fine vintage display. I spoke there for a while with a civil old gent, and to judge by the grey hair on his head, he had weathered a good many winters, and here's what the gentleman said. Thank God to be here this fine evening, for to see those machines of the past. In the days long ago when they made a machine, they certainly meant it to last. Designed to perfection and carefully built, with their cogwheels, pulleys and gears, in their day quite efficient and still looking good after serving their purpose for years. They remind me of the great many changes he said I have seen since I was a boy, and the honest and innocent hard-working days of way of life long gone by. If the men and the women who worked those machines could come back amongst us today and experience life in the modern world, I'd be charmed to hear what they'd say. For the manner of living at present and the methods of using the land bear little, if any, resemblance to the time when it was all done by hand. We invented all manners and gadgets for the purpose of saving our strength and the way of doing everything quicker, but I wonder if we're as content. There's no open fire in the kitchen. Our heat is provided by oil. There's no sugar chairs round the fireside. No black kettle sings in the boil. There's nobody keeping an orchard. There's no new sweet potatoes to dig. No white cabbage grown in the haggard, and nobody killing the pig. The geese and the handful of turkeys, and the hens, should we see them no more, they're gone like the thatch in the whitewash, and where would you see a half door? The barn is gone, and the old cow house, and the stand where the churns were kept, and going to the creamery is a thing of the past, and there's little or no use for ship. And the big gentle horse that done so much work, they were so much part of our ways. They're almost forgotten, and more is the shame. There's no place for them in those fast-moving days. As sure 'twas grand in the evening to hear the clip-clop of their shoes and the jingle of chains, as they walked home at ease after doing a day's work, and the horseman's coat hung on the hames. But the single event that brought so much change, where things were never the same, like the snakes by St. Patty were banished the day the electricity came. Well, I'm not so old, but I clearly recall when we lived without electrical lights, and the school I attended was never wired up. Still, we all turned out fairly right. 'Tis a fright when you think of the number of ways we depend on electrical power, and how helpless we feel, especially at night if it's only gone out for an hour. We can't do the Milton, we can't see the news. We don't know if the forecast gave rain, and the women, God help us, they get very push out. 'Tis a small thing cost them to complain. They can't cook, they can't bake, they can't iron, they can't do the washing at all. For those jobs, and indeed many others, are done by the power that comes out of the wall. All the cows will break out, the fences are dead. There's no shock to make them behave. And for lads with electrical razors, without it they even can't shave. Well, that's what we call progress. That's for and against. While the old days were good, they were tough. But I think the youth today are fantastic. We had hardship and work long enough. Pulling beet, trimming hay, snagging turnips, forking dung and all of that crack. I don't think I'd like to return to that, but be capes it is nice to look back. So great credit due to the owners who put those machines here in show to remind us and show our young people the way things were done long ago. So every success to the rally, may it flourish, and long may it last, and good luck to the good organisers for the glimpse they gave us of the past.
That's absolutely amazing. That actually,
Ray, is it passable?
That's brilliant.
that actually gave me like, that's the first, because you hear a lot, like I've heard a couple of poems trying to describe that. The way you tell that, I could really visualize that. And what I liked about it, the part at the end, when you actually say, like, you acknowledge that we don't want to go back there.
No,
Because
no.
a lot of time people say the good, the good old days, and we should go back there, but they were harder times. But you just said, like, that you're glad that the kids don't have to experience that now, but it's good. It's important to remember at the same time, like.
Yeah.
Were you a kid in Ballycal? Did you grow up as a kid in Ballycal, like?
I did.
And were you doing all that kind of thing, snagging turnips and whatever?
Oh, we were young, oh yeah.
What did you do? Like, would you work from an early age, or when was?
Oh,
the first time you got
because
out in the
sure,
field?
you get holidays from school, so I go down to Finn's.
Yeah, Ballinhow, is it? Or?
But Paddy Finn's, he had an old tractor, and I was driving the old tractor.
Were you? What age were you when you were doing that?
I started driving a tractor at 9 years of age, an old Forson.
Hey, there's a guard here. Don't say that.
But he could do nothing about it.
Statute barred.
He could do nothing. He could do nothing about it because I wasn't out on the highway. As a fella said. No.
And what were you doing? Ploughing and
John Joe Lyons was ploughing. I'd be steering the old tractor. And
what was it? David Brown or what was it? Or
an old Forson. Real old Forson.
Fordson, yeah.
Lyons is below on the Mall.
Yes, Lines is. I remember. Well, I know who they are. Like I know
Connie,
T and T.
DJ, TJ, and
Yeah,
all
the whole
them.
lot. Yeah. And what did they supply them or what? Or
Yeah, they were out and hire.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they were contractors.
They
and
were
stuff.
contractors.
Yeah.
Lyons Agricultural Contractors, South Malturles.
Oh my
Was
God.
on the threshing mill.
Yeah. And like what was school like and all that?
Oh, Jesus, a bit from morning till night.
Oh yeah, so you weren't fond of that, no?
No, he was a right hooer. He was from a place called Ballybourney.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
What's from when you were like working? What was the hardest job you remember doing where you go, "Oh, I have to do that now"? When you were younger.
Everything was hard. Sure, I was cutting corn with old combine would John Stakelum.
yeah.
That was long hours.
Yeah.
And was there any fun time off or anything like that? So, hurling, I suppose, was it?
Oh, a wet day.
A wet day, was it?
A wet day when I was with John Stakelum. Every fine hour you got, you had to take it.
Yeah.
You could come home from work at 12 o'clock in the night.
Yeah.
If you got a windy night cutting corn, you would be every grain you could save.
Yes.
So that part's kind of changed now as well with machines like you were talking about, because now you can kind of go out in the rain with these machines and stuff like.
The machines they were different altogether.
Yeah.
The one I drove first was a tractor-driven one, a class.
Okay.
I'd be driving the tractor and he'd be up in the back of it.
Yeah.
And was there any horses involved in that work or anything back then?
Oh, before 44 and 45, them years, it was all horses.
Okay.
Horses, oh yeah, all horses.
It must have taken forever though, did it, to do a field or what?
They plough an acre a day, I think.
Okay.
Oh.
But when they were ploughing in them times, when was the last shape of corn had been before the threshing is that?
Yeah.
The horses were out ploughing.
Okay. Wow.
They'd have all the ploughing done well before Christmas.
Yeah. And what about going to matches and having a bit of crack then in time?
There were very little matches because
Was
you hadn't the money.
Yeah. Yeah.
I remember 1949, there was some of the family went at home, but I didn't go. They wouldn't have the money.
Of course. Yeah. How did they go?
They cycle into town if they had a bike, and they'd go on the train. And
Yeah. They were going up to the All Ireland, were they?
they'd be going the first round of the Munster Championship of 49.
Wow. Oh my God. And when was the first time you went to a match or whatever?
I was at a match in 1945.
Oh yeah.
I was at 2 matches. I'd be lifted in over the old turnstiles.
Yeah.
Limerick and Antiprairie and Cork Antiprairie here in Turles.
Well, it was good. Did you enjoy it?
I did. I don't know whether I did or not. I tell you, I was young.
Yeah. What age were you in 1945? That's
35, I was 10.
okay. So that means if you were 10, so do you live like? So do you remember those years of the war then? So
Oh, God, I don't remember the war,
yeah. What was that like? Because it's very.
Sure, they were tough. So you
Yeah.
had nothing.
Yeah.
Do you remember ration books?
Oh God, I do. As Ed was only coupon that was plentiful.
What was
As Ed,
Zed?
that was soap. You weren't washing yourself too often.
Soap.
Oh yeah.
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 All the rest of them were used up.
Because you were eating stuff, butter and stuff, was it? Or what?
Butter. Half ounce of taste in a small ration, no doubt. The stuff is so weight it won't come through the spout. No more constipation. Oh Lord, I'm near dead with a half ounce of tea and a loaf of brown bread.
Oh,
Very good. Was there like, because it's interesting to know, because you don't get to talk to many people who were around at that time. Was there a fear in Ireland at the time that they were going to get involved real heavily in the war and stuff? Cause you
I
see that-
wouldn't think so. The De Valera kept him out of the war.
Yeah.
He wouldn't hand over the ports, I think.
And people were confident in him at the time to.
They were.
That's interesting, because I always wondered that, like, what was there? Because when there's wars going on in the world now, there's lots of fears of all these countries. But then, yeah, it's curious to know, like, was there this fear? I suppose the only problem then Ireland really had was all the products not being able to get into the country and all the shipments. Wasn't that a big thing? It was all.
scarcity, I suppose, as well, wasn't there? Just
Well, a lot of the young people joined the LDF and the LSF.
Okay.
And they joined that to get the clothes.
Yeah. Oh wow! Just to get the clothes.
So clothes, yeah, you get a uniform.
Okay. All right.
They had no money.
Yeah.
Then in later years, the war was over, Johnny Hannifin bought up all the old clothes and you'll go in there, you'll give them for a few old bob.
okay.
Wow. So people joined. Yeah. Just joined just to get clothes. Like that's really interesting.
Yeah. Another thing I remember about the war now was a plane passing Ballycal one morning with no pilots in it.
Oh, whoa.
What?
So did it crash then, or
I'd crashed below in Johnstown.
whoa?
Jesus.
If you know where
I
Johnstown
do.
is.
Yeah.
Jan, you know where the Spa Hill is.
Yeah.
I crashed into the Spa Hill.
Wow. And what do you mean they had no pilot in it? Your man had parachuted out of
They
it?
parachuted out in Limerick.
Okay.
Oh, do you know what was it, an Irish plane or what?
I'd say to the German. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah.
But I can remember it well, though, passing.
Wow,
That's amazing.
that is really interesting. Like, especially that area, you'd wonder like what was going on there. There is that story about like they accidentally got confused. Wasn't there a timing thing where they tried to bomb Manchester but accidentally bombed Dublin?
Dublin,
They
yeah.
bombed the Camp Hale in Wexford and the North
Oh,
Strand in
that's
Dublin.
mad, like.
That's it.
So that's really scary to think that there was one of them flying over Ballycal, like, because if they were making mistakes, that well, like God, what was that plane doing halfway in the country? Like,
I say I was young. I was out at the side of the
Yeah.
house, and there was a couple of us there, and I can remember it was flying over Finn's Field.
wow.
Was it low?
'Twas low.
Wow.
And I barely avoided Turles, Johnstown, Urlanford and Johnstown.
Jesus.
And went into the Spa Hill.
Yeah.
God. What age did you start? So you're a big hurling man. Then why were you young when you got into the hurling as well?
Fairly sure we were.
Yeah,
You had no place to go only up to the old hurling field.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's still kind of like that, to be honest.
And what about would you gone away to matches like anywhere? Like would you ever go away anywhere?
No,
No.
wouldn't have the way going.
Yeah, yeah. Or you didn't cycle anywhere or anything?
No.
Oh.
No, the farthest I ever had sailed to a match was over to Gale in Borland.
Oh yeah. What about the cinema? Would you go to the cinema?
We would. When I started working,
Yeah.
when you'd been home to show, Bob, you'll get a half crown back, and that'd have to do you for the whole week.
Wow.
You wouldn't go too far.
And which cinema did you? It didn't matter.
To depend on what I'd be on.
Okay.
And you'd go into the Tommy Mary, the shop there in Frere Street,
Yeah.
and you get a quarter of Scots clan,
Oh, lovely. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
and you had the price of the pictures then,
Yeah.
and you go down to Gleason to Hall Street, and you had a price of a bun and a bottle of lemonade, and that was your lot till the next Sunday night.
Oh, hey, jeez, that was great.
What was it like the first time see? Because you always hear the stories that people first see the cinema for the first time. Was it really weird? Like, was it a bit confused? Like, people say like it was a bit like hard to comprehend, kind of like at the time, to see this big screen with moving pictures.
Yeah.
Yeah, a strange experience at first, was it?
What they used to call them was the talkies.
Yeah.
Talkies, no?
The
I didn't know that.
talkies, yeah.
And was the first one you saw a talkie?
Oh, it was, yeah.
Okay. So, wow. And do you remember what it was?
Oh, God, I don't.
No.
Yeah. Do you ever? Well, like,
Laurel and Hardy, we liked him.
Oh, they were good
oh,
crack. Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny.
And there was another, oh, God, I can't think of his name now. And there were, you forget a lot of things.
Of course, yeah.
What about, like, say, the likes of the Stakelums and Jimmy Dial and all of those around? They were like kind of like film stars at the time, weren't they?
They were. Pat Stakelum, they'd been his hurley and boots into my mother.
Oh, would he?
He come out across the field. We were living across the field from me.
Yeah.
And he'd be going on the one's lorry.
Yeah.
And he'd leave it in. He'd be going up on his daily route.
Yeah.
And then he'd collect it in the evening.
Right.
So I got a brainwave one Sunday. I went here named Mass in Thurles.
Yeah.
And you daren't look at that hurley or take it out of a press or anything. That was gold.
Yeah.
So I tugged out in Pat Stakelum, blue and gold.
You tugged out for
Oh,
tip. Fair
I
play
did.
to you. What age were you?
Oh, I'd be 14 or 15.
That's brilliant.
And did you look the part? Like, did you
Looked the part.
think?
She had a big old mirror, and I looked at myself in the
Oh, well,
mirror.
you said you looked fantastic. Yeah, you could
Yeah.
straight out into Croke Park.
God, Pat Stakelum. Pat Stakelum, I'd be working with his brother John at the time.
Yes.
And he'd be coming out to collect his bicycle. I'd be filling oil in the barn. We'd have a few words every morning.
Brilliant. And did you worked with the Stakelums, did you?
I gave 20 years with John in Castleavenue. Did you know John Stakelum in Castleavenue?
Yes, I did. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Wow.
I gave 20 years there.
Wow. Was he doing contracting?
He was doing contract.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I knew a few of them. I knew Bob Stakelum.
His mother was one of the ones Crook Street.
That's right. Yeah.
Jimmy and Eddie and
Yeah,
Matty.
Matty. Yeah, exactly.
There's one of them alive, yes, Stacia.
That's right. Yeah, Matty was in my dad's class in school. Yeah, he was a good crack.
Yeah. Who was your father now?
Dan Ryan.
Dan.
Yeah.
Oh, by God, sure, he knows town and country.
He does.
Oh, by God, he does.
He does. Yeah.
And how is he?
He's good. He's stiff on the legs, like with the Parkinson's, but he's good other than that. You
But
know.
he's done out.
Oh, he is. Yeah. He's got a mobility scooter and he's tearing around the town now, causing
Oh, yeah.
mayhem. Yeah. Holding up traffic.
God, I didn't meet him for a long time.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
He'd always say, where are you? I'm waiting for you to call.
Is that what he said?
I'd say to him, I'm waiting for you to call.
I'll tell him that.
Oh God, I remember Dinny Reagan.
Did you know Dinny? Yeah.
He did.
Yeah. He was the man they couldn't kill.
Man, they couldn't kill.
Yeah.
Well, what was that?
He got
He was shot abroad in Turtle.
in the golf club, so he was kind of on the run, and he was where the golf club now is was Dr. Barry's house, and Black and Tans called to the door looking for him, and Dr. Barry said, "Oh, he's not here. I don't know where he is." And they said, "Oh, you'll do instead." So they shoot Dr. Barry.
Whoa.
And he jumped down from behind the door and kind of showed himself.
He
over
said,
there.
I'm the man you're looking for.
Yeah, so they
Whoa.
brought him out to the bridge and shot him 3 times, or 3 times, I think. And then they went to walk away, and the lad said he's still moving. And so they went back and gave him a 4th shot. And then Dr. Barry came in and cleaned him up and brought him out to Condeers, I think, out in Dundrum to recuperate.
Whoa.
And then he was working for my grandfather, and he was
driving the horse.
driving the horse. He was down in Waterford.
So years later, like.
Yeah, years later, or well, I don't know how long a year later it was. He was down in Waterford, and the body wasn't ready to be collected, so he went down for a walk down by the river or whatever, and this fella turned around and saw him and started to run. It was the guy who shot him.
Whoa.
Yeah, he was like,
He was a clip horses.
yeah. Did he?
He did. Clip horse. So he done everything to make a bob.
Yeah, he was an amazing man. But your man ran away, thought that he was down to get
I've seen a
revenge.
ghost, like.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So yeah,
That's mad.
but yeah, he was. I didn't know him at all. Like, he was dead.
Oh
before I
God,
was born.
everyone knew, didn't he?
Yeah.
He used to drive ambulance as well. part-time.
Did he? Yeah.
Yeah, he went down to McCarthy for a man one day in Damdens, and he was dead. And he turned around to him. He said, all right, he said, I'll be back tomorrow even for him anyway.
All right. Did he say that? Oh, man.
He was a character.
Yeah. He must have been some stuff to be shot that many times. And
He was. He broke his fingers and everything. They left him for dead, sure.
I have a picture of him with horses. Yeah, he was kind of, what was he kind of training them and taming them?
He used to clip him money for the farmers for the springtime.
Okay.
They clip the horses.
Okay. Well, fair play to him. Yeah.
What time would that have been during when the shooting happened? Was that?
Oh, I don't know, when would that have been? The 1920s, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
Well, 19, 20, 21. I wanted them years.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
Yeah.
Like, it's so close to it as well. Like, it's not that far away in time. Like,
No.
do you when I was listening to your poems, like I really like your style of poetry. It's that proper old style of storytelling that we don't see in poetry anymore. Like, do you?
Well, where I got that, I was out of a book,
Yeah.
and I got the Clonolty one at the Vintage Rally in Clonolty.
Lovely, yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
That's out in Hammersleys, is that what you said?
The Hammersley Field, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And do you have? You seem like the way you're telling it, a storyteller. Do you ever like? Would you have ever been? Because it would have been a tradition, like sitting around, like one of the parts of it where you're sitting around the fire, like telling stories.
About bits of them things, all right.
Yeah.
Wow. And wow, that's really cool.
Would you have any of those stories off the top of your head, like if we were sitting down back at the time, right? Just say right now, there's no electricity, there's no television, there's just a fire, but it's your turn to tell a story. Would you have one?
No, the only story I would have known, I don't know should it be told or not, was my mother sitting under the globe lamp
Yeah.
reading out Harry Gleason's trial.
Oh, yeah. That was tough, yeah.
What was that about?
Poor Harry Gleason, yeah, he was like,
He was executed in New Inn.
yeah, for a crime he didn't commit, basically. Yeah,
Do you know, I gave a full day sleeping in John Stakham's car outside the house where he came out.
Did you, yeah?
I went down cutting ditches for his brother and he wasn't there.
Yeah.
And I laid back, the sun was shining. I fell asleep. He never came back. I never cut a ditch either.
What? Do you mind telling that story? Like, 'cause I don't know about it.
Sure, I don't rightly know. I have old books. I have books
Yeah.
for that.
Okay. Yeah.
It was basically, he was kind of stitched up, I think, or whatever. He was convicted of murder and hung, and turns out he didn't do it.
In Ireland. Though,
Yeah.
Jesus.
In 1941.
Yeah.
That's not that long ago at all.
No, but they've kind of they got a state apology or whatever since, or something like that, didn't
Okay.
they?
He got
his name
Was it by
cleared.
the Irish?
I knew
Yeah.
his sister. His sister lived below in Castleavenue.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, but he got his name cleared basically in the last few
He
years.
did.
wasn't
He
it?
did. He didn't do
No, he
it
didn't
all.
at all. No, it's terrible, really.
Have an idea who run it all right? The IRA were mixed up.
Yeah.
Or they,
She was working in the barrack and they were afraid she was giving away. 'Twas murder in one way, but I suppose the IRA were strong at the time, and
Mm.
I suppose anything was done that time wasn't murder. And
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. God, anyway, the poor devil. Yeah, he was innocent, but sure, he knew he was innocent, and
yeah, they knew that. They knew.
and he
He had brothers out there in Galbas.
He did, yeah. But he knew. What I thought was interesting about him was he knew he was innocent, and his feeling or his wish or something was the one day that people would know the truth, and actually they did. Like, and he seemed kind of at peace, even though he knew he was being convicted for something he didn't do. He knew that his name would be cleared, like eventually, you know. Didn't he? He said, the ones I read about it anyway, he seemed at kind of peace, but it's a very sad situation, you know.
We had a lot of things wasn't true then either, you know.
Yeah.
Mm.
How are you telling ghost stories and all that kind of stuff?
Ghost stories, and you'll be afraid to go outside the bloody door.
Yeah. We had, you know Eddie Lenihan, he's a Shanachie, we had on a podcast a while back, and he was actually talking about the electricity. He was saying, why aren't people afraid of the ghosts anymore? And he reckons it's because they don't go out in the dark anymore. He said, like, sure, everyone lives in towns and villages without the lights, but he said if there was no electricity, within a couple of months, the ghost stories would be back and people would be terrified again. Because at your time, after a ghost story, you'd have to go walk a long road home.
Oh, you had. You had to go in Finn's Laneway and Morris's Laneway, in big long old laneways. And
Would you be scared?
And often that's where the stories would be about, because they'd be all kind of local. Yeah. And I think it'd be nice to hear those coming back as well, like, and especially if there's a few power outages coming up, so people will be back to.
Would you ever heard any like kind of local stories about, like, you know, like a stray sod or like the little people as they call them, or any of those kind of? Would there have been any local ones around Ballycal?
Money.
Would there have been any local stories around Ballycal about, like, kind of, you know, like a stray sod or like the little people, the fairies, any of that kind of?
Leprechauns, that kind of stuff.
There would be. Sure, we had a man. Your father known well, Paddy Butler.
Okay.
He drank 2 farms. He lived in the Rye. Right. But you were telling my mother one night, and you passing the graveyard in Ballycal, there was a dead man sitting on a bag of spuds outside the graveyard. How did he know what was in it? Well, she believed in him. Oh. How did he know? Was it a bag of corn or a bag of I'll tell you, he was a gas man. In the later years, I used to shave him.
Yeah. And
we had electric lights, and she put on the lights, and I used to shave him with an electric razor.
Yeah.
Johanna, he said, would you have any such things? And I will candle. He said, he haven't bright lights. and she held the candle at both sides of him, and he was shaving away.
You couldn't trust that old electric light, so you couldn't.
He was a character.
Was anyone afraid of the electricity when it came in first round?
They were.
Were they? Well.
Oh, God, they were. You got a dart of it. Oh, God, they were.
Did you ever get a dart of it?
No.
No. You were smart enough.
No.
It's true, though. I suppose
there was lads living in a long laneway down near Morris's, now Nicholas Morris's. Yes. Oh, he was in 2 mile up the road. Yeah. He'd be nearer to the ship than he'd be in. So they had electric light before we had it, and we out on the main road. They were lit from Cormackstown side.
Okay,
So they carried her home from us in old Pony and Trap, and she said to me again, we'll see you again. She said, we'll have the electric light. Well, now he said, when you turn it on Nebedan, don't be turning it or touching it like the globe at all. He said, when you push it on Nebedan.
Yeah.
Oh, that's innocent. They didn't know the hell.
I know, yeah. You were afraid something might happen, the whole thing would go on fire or something, is it?
Yeah.
Wow.
I suppose you would be like, it was the biggest change. I don't think there still is, even today, there's not even, the internet's kind of close enough, but I still think electricity coming around would have been the biggest shock to the world. Like,
what about the television coming in? Do you remember that?
I remember it coming in, but I don't remember. I remember television well, but there was a man over from us, a man by the name of Bill Burke, and he had a radio.
Wow.
And the day of an All-Ireland or a match would be on. There'd be crowds out around the yard, and it was up on a little butter box.
Yeah.
And a brother of mine, he was in Clonmel after.
Yeah.
He was over. You had to mind yourself and listen to it. Yeah. But wherever he was advanced with reading papers, he said, look at little boy, he said, you heard that today. He said, you live to see the day. He said, you can see it.
Wow.
He was that much ahead of him.
Wow.
That's amazing.
My
God. He saw it in American papers or something.
Wow.
Oh, who said it? Your brother?
No.
Oh, no, lad.
The old man.
The old man said you'll see it eventually. Wow.
Eventually you'll live to see it.
That's so crazy.
That's really interesting. Like, what? So what? He would just see it from American papers.
Yeah, I suppose American papers.
The radio, you'll be able to see the radio eventually.
Wow.
And what about, like, where was your first experience of televisions then? Shops or something, was it?
Because I'll tell you that I think Mackey's had a television.
Had they?
Seamus Mackey and Larry and
Yeah.
they had a television. I went up there to see all Ireland.
Well,
We were
brilliant.
next door to them.
It was like the cinema in your house.
It was, yeah.
Jakers.
I remember hearing stories like my granny, like when television first came in, like and she didn't fully understand kind of how it worked and stuff, and she'd have to clean the whole house before she turned the telly on because the people in the telly would see she had an unclean house.
No way.
She genuinely believed it. Like,
Wow. That's funny. That's really interesting. That's mad.
well, either she believed it, or either she just pretended to believe it to get all my mum and her siblings to clean the house. Like, I don't know now, but
Yeah.
Scam, yeah.
That's funny. Yeah, I suppose like it would have been. When it first came around, was it still? It wasn't. Was it a thing where people were watching it all the time, or was it still rarely turned on?
Rarely turned on. No.
Yeah.
And the radio wouldn't be turned on either.
Okay. So what times of the day would it be? Maybe after the work or?
We got to turn it on for the news. They'd be sparing the battery.
Yeah.
My mother used to walk from Ballycal with the wet battery into Kevin O'Connor's to get it charged.
All right.
Where's that in the square?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's before the electricity came.
Oh, times have changed that much. Like it's like you'd go walk into town to get a battery charged.
Now the battery charge, you had a small battery and a big battery.
Wow.
And the small battery keep you going while you were getting the big one charged. Would be in for 3 or 4 days.
That's mad. That's so interesting. Like the, yeah, we don't. I think we definitely take it for granted how easy we have it. Like, 'cause I don't even know if people would have time today to be walking around like going charging batteries and stuff, because they're all doing so much. I don't know. It's changed a lot. Like.
Yeah, nobody had like. So your mother cycling? Would you do that?
Oh, no, walk it.
Walk it.
Walk it.
God.
Well, and good if you got
A lift.
a lift.
Yeah.
Cars were scarce. You get maybe a pony and car. Maybe you wouldn't. You get home in the bus then.
Yeah.
Home in the bus.
Do you remember your first time seeing a car come or cars around? Like in the local area, because obviously they would have been around before that.
Wait, no. Car. Paddy Morrissey of Ballynahoe had a car.
Yeah.
And it was taken off the road in 41 or 2
Yeah.
and jacked up in the barn
Was it? Yeah.
for no petrol.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
The shock.
And Timmis and Mialef had a car,
Yes. Oh.
and that was taken off the road.
You were telling some story about cycling. It was a tip team, was it, cycling down to, was it a Munster final or what was it, and they'd cycle home or what was it?
Oh, Pat Statham.
Yeah. What was that about?
Pat Statham cycled into town to play the Munster final.
Yeah.
And he was back to Turles in a car.
Yeah.
They wouldn't drive him home.
Yeah.
And he had to carry the cup home from Turles to Ballycal and the bicycle.
Oh, gee.
And his brother, Jerry, who is still alive,
Yeah.
and of course, cousin of his in Dublin, they had 2 bikes to bring the 3 of them home from Turles.
He's joking.
To cycle out to Ballynahoe.
And the cup.
With the cup. The cup wasn't too bad. It was the base.
The big black yoke.
Yes.
Well, to bring that as well.
I'd bring that as well.
Oh, for God's sake.
And when he came in to Turles with the cup, he went up there in Castle Avenue.
Yeah.
There was a Doolin living there.
Yeah.
They left the bicycles in there and they hid the cup under a hedge. And he took him down and bought a bottle of lemonade for him or something down at maybe Roaches or some of them little fellas down there.
Yeah. And that was after winning, what was it, a Munster
final.
Munster final, and you had to fucking cycle home with the cup.
Yeah.
Cycle home with the cup.
Jeez, you'd be better off
You get
leaving.
limos now.
Yeah.
So they didn't spoil the players back then?
No. Pat Statham cycled into town that morning.
Yeah. Played the match and cycled home.
Yeah, that's funny. It's totally different now, God.
Yeah.
Oh, they weren't looked after then like they are now.
No.
Yeah.
No, they wasn't fed in like they are now.
I know.
Yeah.
My father told me that the Cork team were staying some monster final. Do you remember this? And they were staying in his hotel and they misbehaved. They were there 2 days before or something like that, or was it? There were 2 nights. Anyway, they got kicked out of the Hayes' hotel, and the council offices put them up. Did you hear that?
No, I'd never heard
So
that.
where Apache Pizza is now, the Cork team with Christy Ring and all that stayed in that room there above Apache.
I'd see Ring playing in 45 though.
Did you?
I did. Tom Purcell held them scoreless.
You're joking. Wow.
Tom Purcell.
That was in Thurles, was it?
That was in Thurles.
I think it's 45 is the year they stayed above Apache Pizza.
No, because that was the council office.
That was the council office. So it was one room to be about the size of this room here.
That's
was the council office.
These are a lot bigger now.
Yeah, and the whole team, Cork team, had to stay in it.
Whoa.
And say, like, my father lived next door, so they remember they're looking out and seeing the whole Cork team inside in this one room, you know.
What did they do that they got kicked out of Hayes?
I don't know what they were doing. They were gaffling or something, but they got kicked out, and there was a bit of an emergency meeting, and they said they put them up in the council office.
Wow.
Yeah. With Christy Ring was on it, anyway. Yeah. But geez, you've seen some good matches over the years.
Oh God, great matches. Matches. 45 was great.
Was it? Yeah.
Who was in the final, the All-Ireland final in 45? I know you said it in the poem. I was trying to, was it Kilkenny? You said Black and Amber.
Kilkenny and Tipperary.
Oh, was it in 45? Oh, wow.
Yeah. The Lion House was Jimmy Mahar Borland Walla. Flor Coffey Borland Walla.
Yeah.
Ger Connolly Turles Arthfids. Jim David Cashel. Mick Murphy Turles Arthfids. John Maher Turles Arthfids, captain. Tom Purcell McCarthy Burris. Henry Goldsborough Army. Wald Carrick, Tom Wald Carrick. Mus Ryan McCarthy Burris. Tommy Dale Turles Arthfids. And Mus Ryan McCarthy Burris. Eddie Gleason, the Gagan, below the New Road.
Yeah.
Paddy Sweeper Ryan. Tony Brennan.
Wow.
Don't know how you remember all them.
Tony Brennan and John Coffey.
Wow.
Very good.
Did I'm really interested. I know you said about the war, but because I'm just imagining you're saying you were seen in 1945. I imagine Tipperary and Kilkenny up in Croke Park playing while the whole world is at war. At the moment when something happens in the news in today's day, even if it's something small, every second person is constantly talking about it or worried about it and stuff. So at that time, at that match, while the war was going on all around the world, was everyone just in Ireland just okay, just watching the hurling, or were they all talking about it?
Talking about it because most people had no way of hearing it, not they had no way of seeing it.
So was there lots of rumours and whispers? And
there would be.
Yeah.
There would be. You see, John Maher, if I looked out my door at home, I could see into John Maher, who captain in All Ireland.
No, wow.
Look over across the field past Declan, captain in All Ireland.
Yeah.
Go up the road, Declan Carr, captain in All Ireland. Yeah. Go down the right road, Jim Lanigan, who Cullen Road, captain in All Ireland.
Wow. There's a lot of them.
A lot of them.
And
that's all. They're nothing else to do with talk about hurling.
And they were the celebrities of the day.
They were. They did.
But you got to mix with them as well, which was nice. So you probably hang around the Glenmorgan or where were they?
Yeah, the Glenmorgan. Yeah.
Was it? Yeah. In there for ice cream or whatever.
Yeah.
That was the place to hang.
Oh, that was the place.
Yeah. Wow, that's really cool. Yeah. And
do you have I was thinking, would you have if we finished up in a few minutes, would you have a poem to finish up with? Another one off the top of your head to leave us off with?
In the crowded Croke Park he last played on a dim September day. His story will be told with pride whilst Gaels in Ireland stay. A And now that he has reached the end, to us he'd be a loss. His name I'll tell, you knew him well, John Dial from Holy Cross. In 49 John Dial did shine, although he be 19. Against Cork that day he showed the way on Limerick's sod so green. And for 3 long years we gave loud cheers, they did not let us down, those gallant men from Hill and Glen who won the Triple Crown. And in 58, sure it was great to see them back once more. Tipperary won the All-Ireland, John Dial had number 4. Then came 60, the black year. When to Wexford we went down, but we were back in 61 to beat old Dublin town. And in 62, sure it was true, we had a wonder team, with a great display on the final day the likes you've seldom seen. When Mackie tore like a star of yore through Wexford's flashing sticks, he placed Tom Ryan, who hit it wide to win John Dial his 6th. And in 64, as oft before, some thought they were too old, that gallant band from Kickham's land who wore the blue and gold. And in 65 they were much alive and stood the test just grand. They played the ball, both one and all, to win John Dial his 8th. And in years from now we'll read of how John Dial he made his name, that stalwart man from Holy Cross, of how he loved the game. 'Twas not for fame he kept on playing, sure that we know by now. 'Twas for the honour of Tipperary and the sake of Knocknagow.
Hey, fair play to you. Well done.
Thanks for coming on as well and sharing all the information. It's always good to hear. Like, I'm always so fascinated about all those times that that we don't get to hear about anymore, because it is important to remember where we came from. So I appreciate you coming on. It was a good.
Yeah, thanks very much, Sean. It was a good glimpse into the past and what it was like around here. Yeah, thank you.
There could be more, and I think
Thank you very much. Very good.
there was old club hurling too.
Yeah.
God bless who Hayes and Kennedy, Musrine and Cusick too. Likewise, brave young Balti Maher, you all know how to do. Our hero Martin Haley, ye are the lads can fly, not forgetting Hayes and Kennedy, the 2 Mileborough boys. There's one more name I'll mention, and I could not let him down. It was Malmar in his motor car that brought us home from town. When we arrived in Littleton, 'twas well gone closing time, but we filled the cup and we drank enough, could help the Sweeperine. There's old bits.
That's cool.
Do you have enough of it, lads?
Thanks very much, Sean.
thanks
You're
a million.
brilliant. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks a million.